AMC stock price prediction. Okay guys, so here we are in another update video of AMC guys. So in my previous videos I was talking about how I thought that there was a lot of risk with AMC stock, but there was a lot of upside as well, and I was really waiting for a solid base to be formed until I was interested in this stock. So it looks like we've formed that solid base and we've had some really good news so far this week. So we're going to talk a lot more about AMC and stock. Before I get into the video guys, be sure to grab your 2 free stocks over at Webull by clicking the link in the description below or going to investortrip.com/Webull. So you get 2 free stocks when you deposit at least $100 in your new brokerage account, valued up to $1,850, guys. Okay, so let's get back to AMC. So I received a lot of flack in the comments, and that's simply because when I'm looking at a speculative stock like AMC, I'm not really interested in buying it until I've seen the stock jump off that base. So basically, I was making the previous videos, the stock was basically trading right at around $6, right around this range. So it looks like we've had some liftoff. We've had some really good news. So I'm going to read the news article. So this news was posted a few days ago. So it says AMC stock jumps after New York City says movie theaters can reopen with restrictions. So basically, movie theaters are going to open in New York City on March 5th with capacity limited to 25 people per screen. So obviously this is great news, and this is kind of what I predicted. I said that by summertime you're going to see a lot of these stocks back in motion as the vaccines go out and as restrictions get slowly lifted, and it looks like the market has responded pretty quickly. So as you can see here, there's a lot of accumulation for the last couple of weeks, and now we've been up a few green days now. So it's been about 2 or 3 green days in a row for AMC stock. So I ended up buying some right at around $6.50. So I didn't really touch it here. I got in right here when I first saw that first jump. And I know a lot of you guys have been holding on to this stock. Perhaps you bought it back here during the previous pump back in January, so you're kind of wondering what to do now. So obviously I'm not a financial advisor. You need to really do your own due diligence here, but there is some upside. But for me personally, this is just a swing trade. I'm not interested in investing in AMC long term, although I am intrigued by their new subscription business models. I'm going to say it again, I think Netflix is the better play here. So where are we looking for AMC stock in terms of price target? So there's a couple of ways you can play this, and one way I'm thinking about playing this is I'm already long on AMC stock, and I'm looking to basically close out my position probably right before the resistance at around $17. So I'm not exactly sure how long it's going to take to get there. Obviously it was basically at $17 just about a month ago. So hopefully things get better, and then let's say through March AMC stock continues to crank up, and then I'm probably going to sell it at that first resistance level right around $17 to $18. Just take my profits. Now, there's a couple other ways you can play this. So if you're interested in call options, I think a potential play, you can simply buy call options, but I wouldn't buy them too short notice because we're not exactly sure when the stock is really going to come back. So we've had a couple of green days. We've been up a few days, and that's nice. So if we take a look at the 5-day chart, here, the stock is up 43% over the last 5 days, so that's pretty solid. So I'm not really sure how long it'll take to get back to the previous level that it was at around $17. But let's say, for purposes, let's say it takes like a month or two. So if you could buy some call options, maybe around, I would say, it depends on what your strategy is. If you buy them in the money, it's going to be a little bit more expensive. But if you were to buy some call options, perhaps close around this point with like a month or two in advance, that sounds like a sound strategy. That's probably what I'm going to do as well to try to squeeze some more profit out of this swing trade. Now, there are a couple of risks involved here with AMC. Number one, if the whole vaccine movement slows down and new strains come out, that could be a potential pitfall, or if these restrictions or have to be reinforced as well. So there is some risk here with this trade, and I still think that EV stocks are just a better long-term investment, simply because a lot of these EV stocks have been sold off. So we're looking at a lot of stocks like Lucid Motors, Workhorse, Tesla. These stocks, we all know that basically, when I was growing up as a kid in high school, probably the biggest movement was the whole smartphone movement and things like that, and Apple coined this. So for this decade, for this generation, I think the EV movement. I think this is the big thing. And it's not just with cars, it's also with buses, it's also with aircrafts and things like that. So I'm really, really bullish on the EV movement, but I really, really like AMC as well as a swing trade. But, we really have to pay attention here because there's been a lot of volatility in the market lately, and we've had some extremely wild swings. But one of the nice things is that earlier in this swing, it looks like AMC benefited. So there was a huge sell-off in like tech stocks, namely a lot of those EV stocks that had ran up a ton, and a lot of money is moving into some of these stocks that have beaten down. The travel stocks, stocks like AMC, even GameStop is up as well. So, a lot of things to look forward to here. So my price prediction is, like I said, using a call option strategy, which is potential. My long-term prediction is, I would say I'm looking at around $17 to $18 within, I would say around April. So that gives it kind of a little bit ahead. We think a month and ahead, assuming this nice uptrend continues, the theaters opening, and earnings is coming out as well. So it's going to be really interesting to see what AMC does on earnings. Okay, so let's actually take a look at the earnings upcoming report. So the upcoming earnings report, according to Earnings Whisperer, guys, you can check this out on earningswhisperer.com. It's one of my favorite sites for tracking our earnings reports. So as you can see here, the expected earnings release date is on March 4th, with the consistency to be, again, abysmal earnings as well, guys. So obviously, things aren't going to be doing really well because of the closures, but the good thing is that we want to hear more about that subscription business model, and seeing that the theaters have opened in NYC with limitations. Obviously, we're heading in the right direction. So no one expected that AMC stock was going to crush it right away, but we're going to see a lot of these travel stocks, cruise stocks, airline stocks, GameStop, AMC, all of these stocks that are basically, even the REIT stocks, so Simon Property Group, Realty Income, basically all of these stocks that have been crushed during the pandemic, things should start to improve for them as we continue to see money kind of moving out of some of these tech stocks that have run up a lot, and a lot of these beaten down stocks. So like I said, guys, I think everything's looking good for AMC. I would expect a little bit of volatility on the short run, but if you bought around here, I would say don't bank your profits too soon. I think things are definitely going to get better. Now, for people that ended up buying the stock up here at AMC, perhaps you're down over 50%. In my experience with stocks like these, usually what you want to do is, if you're able to, you definitely want to kind of take losses as early as possible. So if you're definitely holding the stock, when it's all the way down and you're down over 50%, I know a lot of people are talking about diamond hands. You really don't need the money to pay your bills or anything like that. You have a nice emergency fund set up. There's nothing wrong with really holding, because one of the interesting things about this whole pandemic is a little bit different from the financial crisis of 2019. So a lot of the banks were over leveraged in 2019, and a lot of people had their retirement savings wiped out, and the stock market had a horrific crash. This time was a little bit different. It wasn't really a financial collapse. It was just it was a health crisis. So a health crisis is a little bit different from a financial collapse. A lot of these companies have simply just struggled just because everything has been closed. So it's a little bit different. It's not so much a debt crisis. It was a health crisis this time. So I think that's going to mean that the economy is definitely going to roar back, because a lot of people have been spending a lot of time indoors over the last 52 weeks, over the last year. And, I expect a lot of people to pick up a lot of the activities that they had in the past. That includes going to movies, going out to the malls, a lot of the activities that we've basically been doing for the majority of our adulthood and things like that, even our childhood. We're probably going to pick up some of those activities. So I would say if you're down big, if you can afford to hold, and that's why it's really important, guys, to never invest money you can't afford to lose. Always make sure you have an emergency fund set up, so that way you're not panic selling, which is, I think, what a lot of people ended up doing earlier in this week. They didn't have extra cash set up, and when stocks fell, you start to get nervous and stuff like that, and then you panic sell. And also another tip I can recommend is, always have some of your portfolio in cash as well. That really helps to reduce volatility. So you never want to be 100% in stocks. You always want to have some money off the table, so it kind of reduces the volatility, so you don't have to panic sell. So that's just some of the tips I have, guys. So we'll be following in, especially leading up to earnings report. I'll be making some more videos on AMC because full disclosure, I do have shares of AMC. I also own shares of GameStop as well, but I really like AMC a little bit more. I think GameStop has a lot longer time frame to turn around, but things are looking better there as well. So that's it until next time, guys. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel. Also check out my private Discord and my daily stock watch newsletter. You can get those links in the description below. So that's it until next time, guys. Take care.